and we have learned the history of British English, and now we will try to learn the origin of American English, how English language went to America, and what is the scenario in America based on English language. And as you have already mentioned that the English British voyagers spreaded the other parts of this world. So history of America is not an exception. This is a person, his name is Walter Raleigh. He first went to America and he got a commission from Queen Elizabeth. And a group of explorers landed near uh, Roanoke Island in what is now North Carolina and established a small settlement there. So in 1584, by an English voyager, Sir Walter Raleigh, he is an English adventurer and the writer who established a colony near Roanoke Island in the present-day North Carolina, and he was imprisoned in the Tower of London and eventually put to death for treason. This is the history of Walter Raleigh. This is the place where Walter Raleigh went. This is America, and this is the special place of Roanoke Islands. That is, uh, Walter Raleigh went in 1584 and established an English settlement there. And in 1584, Queen Elizabeth granted Raleigh a royal charter authorizing him to explore, colonize, and rule any remote, heathen, and barbarous land, countries and territories not actually possessed of any Christian prince or inhabited by Christian people, in return for 1/5 of the gold and silver that might be given to him. This is the commission he got, and he went there and established a state settlement over there that is at present called North Carolina. But there he confronted with some fight with the local people, and it proved necessary for a ship to return to England for help and supplies. By the time this arrived, that in 1590, none of the original group of the settlers could be found. The mystery of their disappearance has never been resolved. This is the first expedition towards America by the British people. The first permanent English settlement dates from 1607. With an expedition arrived the Chesapeake Bay, and the colonists called their settlement Jamestown after the name of James the First, King James the First, and the area of Virginia after the Virgin Queen Elizabeth. So these are the English settlement in America. So here in the map you see that uh, Chesapeake Bay. There, this is uh, the American map. So from UK they settled over there. The Chesapeake Bay is the largest estuary of the United States. Estuary means Nodimuk, Mohana. The bay is located in the mid-Atlantic region and is primarily separated from the Atlantic Ocean by the Delmarva Peninsula, with the mouth of the Bay of the South and located between Cape Henry and the Cape Charles. So this is the official first settlement in USA by UK. And the further settlement quickly followed along the coast and also on the nearby islands such as Bermuda. And then in November 1620, the first group of Puritans, 35 members of English separatist church, arrived in the Mayflower in the company of 67 of the other settlers. So Puritan are a religious, Christian religious group. Roman Catholicism, you have heard the name of them, Roman Catholicism and Puritan. and the Protestant. Puritans are a separatist group of Christians. Were uh, they were suffered by the English Catholic kings and queens, and for this reason they left England and went to America. Prevented by storm from reaching Virginia, they landed at Cape Cod Bay and established a settlement at what is now Plymouth, Massachusetts. And this group extremely mixed, ranging in from age from young children to people in their 50s and with diverse regional, social and occupational background. So some Puritan and also other people, 75 people went there as the settler. And what the Pilgrims' Father, as they are called, had in common their search for a land and where they could found a new religious kingdom and free from persecution and purified from the church practices they had experienced in England. And it was successful settlement, and by 1640 about 25,000 immigrants had come to this area. There is a history regarding Queen Mary. At the time, Queen Mary was in the power of UK, and during the Mary's 5-year reign, around 280 Protestants were burned at the stake for refusing to convert to Catholicism. এই ধর্মীয় ক্যাথলিসিজম এবং পিউরিটানদের মধ্যে যে এবং প্রোটেস্ট্যান্টদের মধ্যে যে সমস্যা সেটা নিয়ে ব্লাডি মেরি, এই কুইন মেরি 280 জন প্রোটেস্ট্যান্টকে পুড়িয়ে মেরেছিল। অ্যান্ড দ্য ফাদার 800 ফ্লিড টু দ্য কান্ট্রি। এই যে 800 এই দেশ ত্যাগ করে গেল, তাদের মধ্যেই অনেকেই হচ্ছে আমেরিকাতে বসতি স্থাপন করেছিল। দিস রিলিজিয়াস পারসিকিউশন earned her the notorious nickname Bloody Mary among subsequent generations. So this is the position of Puritan and Protestant in UK. Originally, Puritans were a pejorative term characterizing certain Protestant group as extremist. Puritans then were distinguished for being more intensely Protestant than their Protestant neighbors or even the Church of England. So Protestant and the Puritan were the different religious group, and they were persecuted by the Queen of England, and they left England and they went to America and established their settlement. That is the history that UK people went to USA. The two settlements, one in Virginia to the south and the other to the north, in present day New England. So New England is a state of UK that is uh, mainly dominated by the Puritan peoples, had different linguistics background. We see its characteristics accent voicing the S sounds and the R is strongly pronounced after vowels. So the basic difference between British English and the American English, that is uh, British English, they use S in case of jet sound, and also in case of British English, R is not pronounced. But in American English, R is pronounced strongly. So in this New England area, we see such kind of variation. By contrast, many of the Plymouth colonists came from the countries in the east of England, in particular Lincolnshire, Nottinghamshire, Essex, Kent, London, with some of the Midlands and a few from the farther afield. So this eastern accent were rather different, notably lacking an R after vowels, and they proved to be the dominant influence in this area. And the tendency not to pronounce the R is still a feature of the speech of the people from New England. So in the New England, we see the variation of the pronunciation of R is noticeable. The later population movements across America, and so there are many mixed dialect areas found throughout the America today. So the people of America, they use English language as their first language. However, we see the mixture of several languages because the people The British people went to America from the several parts of UK. Some people went from Irish, some people went from Scotland, Wales, Midland, and for this reason we see the mixed pronunciation variety of American English. And next time they make the difference between American pronunciation and the British pronunciation. And during 17th century, new shiploads of immigrants brought an increasing variety of linguistics background into the country. And next time, in the 16th century, lots of people, not all from UK, other immigrant people went to America. And they also made the English language full of variety in the USA. The people speaking very different kind of English thus found themselves living alongside with each other. They are living together, they are using English, but one linguistic sparse English is pronounced in is different from the other English pronunciation because it's a very big country and the immigrant people and the voyagers not came from the specific parts of the UK. Rather, in the 18th century, there was a vast wave of immigrants from the Northern Ireland, and the Irish had the migrating to America from around 600. But the main movements took place during the 1720 decades, when around 50,000 Irish and Scotch-Irish immigrants arrived. And by this time, the independence of America was declared in 1776, and it is thought that 1/7 of the colonial population was Scots-Irish. So the USA population, we see that the British people went there, but 1 in 7 were from either Irish or Scottish, and that makes the pronunciation difference of American English. And at the time of American Revolution, there were two parties. One party, they are called Royal Loyalists. The Loyalists were American colonists who stayed loyal to the British Crown. So at the time of the revolution movements of America, some people, that some British people, they support British government. They are called loyalists. And some for the support of the American Revolution, they are called patriots. So the loyalists are Tories, loyalists are the Kingsmen at the time, and the patriots, they are called inimical to British government. This is loyalist and the patriots. And uh, after by this time, the first census in 1790, the population of the country was around 4 million. A century later, the population numbered over 50 million. 1790 সালে যেখানে জনসংখ্যা ছিল 4 মিলিয়ন, 100 বছর পরে তার সংখ্যা দাঁড়ালো হচ্ছে 50 million. So this is the scenario of, and at that time, not only the British people went there, also the people from the other parts of this world. That is, the Spanish had occupied the west and the north, southwest. স্পেন থেকে যারা গিয়েছিল তারা আমেরিকার পশ্চিম এবং দক্ষিণ ভাগ দখল করে নেয়. The French in the northern territories, and the Dutch in the New York, and the Germans in Pennsylvania. So these are the past occupied by the several European powers in the UK. In addition, there were increasing number of Africans entering to the south. Apart from that, some African people, also the Caribbean islands, the other people, they also went to America as immigrants. As a result, the slave trade, actually the sea pirates, the German, French, Dutch, they were also the sea pirates and the voyagers. They took African slave and migrated it to America as the slave. So they were also numerous, or the major number of American people for the cause of the slave trade. The population of little more than 2,500 black slaves in 1700 had become about 1 lakh by 1775. যেখানে 1700 সালে only 2,500 ব্ল্যাক স্লেভ এই আমেরিকাতে স্লেভ ট্রেডের কারণে নিয়ে যাওয়া হয়, তার সংখ্যা দাঁড়ায় 1775 সালে 1,00,000, far outnumbering the southern whites. So in the southern area, some white people were there, but the black community outnumbered the white community. The 19th century saw a massive increase in the American immigration. And as people fled the result of the revolution, poverty and famine in Europe. In 19th century, the Europe had been suffering the economic problem. And for this reason, for the famine, poverty, and for several European countries had got a revolution. For all these reasons, many people fled from Europe to USA. That is another reason of the growing number of immigrants in USA. And the Irish came fleeing the potato famine in Ireland. And in Ireland, there was also the problem. And in 1840 decades, German and Italian came, escaping the consequence of the failed 1848 revolution. So German and Italian, they also went to USA. That's several European people went to USA, and their reason was varied. European Jews, especially fleeing from the uh, uh, prognomes of the 1880 decades. In the first 2 decades of the 20th century, immigrants were entering to the USA at an average of 750,000 a year. So in the 20th century, uh, every year 750,000 people go to USA. And in 1900, the population was just over 75 million. And this total had doubled in 1950. So by 1950, the population of USA became 150 million. That means 15 crore. And the people not came from UK. They came from the several parts of UK: Scotland, Ireland, Midland, Puritan, Loyalist. And the loyalists, they are also the aristocratic people, and also the patriots. And but apart from that, the slave, for the cause of slave trade, several people from the Caribbean island were taken and sold them to the America. So they were also a linguistics black community in USA, in the USA. So these are the varied population. But the matter is that the people, the German, the French, the Italian, the Caribbeans, all went to America, and they started to learn English language as a process of assimilation. That means the French people might not be communicated over there in French language. However, some parts of USA, the French dominated people had been living. So the people of German, the people of France, the people of Italy, all started communicating in English language as a process of accepting English language. Accepting English language as a means of communication, this is called assimilation. So grandparents and grandchildren found themselves living in a different linguistics world. The immigrant people, their grandparents had been speaking either French, Italian, or Latin, or other language, or the Spanish, but the grandchildren became the English language background, or they speak in English language. And the result was a massive growth in mother tongue use in English. So this is the reason that for the cause of assimilation, most of the people, especially their grandparents, are from Spanish language, but their grandchildren are the English language speaking people, and their English language is the first language. As we know the definition of Pidgin and Creole. According to the 1990 census, the number of people over 5 years of age who spoke only English at home had grown to over 198 million. That means 86% of the population. So this is the census of 1990. That means 86% of USA people they use English language as their first language. The figure increased to 250 million in the 2000 census. And it is almost four times as many mother tongue speakers as any other nation. So in this scenario, we can easily say that in USA, the English language users who use English as their first language, it is nearly four times of any English speaking country in UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. So this is the scenario and the origin of English language in the USA. So some commentators have suggested that the English language was a major factor in maintaining American unity throughout the period of remarkable cultural diversification. So we have learned that in USA, the people from UK, the people from Spain, the people from German, the people from Spanish, French, and also the Caribbean people as the slave, and also from the other parts, even the Asian people also went there as the immigrant people. So the America has become a diversified cultural country. But one thing is that their language is common. Why? Because language has become a glue or something that can attest the American unity. And as you see, that the all American people, king, uh, they say that the unity of America. So language play a very vital role having the unity of USA because 86% American people they speak English language and their English language is from the generation their English language is the first language. So this language is a glue to brought the people all together and a medium which give them the common access to the opportunity. So at the same time, some minority groups begin to be concerned about the preservation of the cultural and the linguistic heritage within a society which was becoming increasingly monolingual. So America has become a monolingual country and though of its cultural and linguistics diversity. So as we have learned that in case of the American English language origin, the first time the British voyagers went to America towards the end of the 16th century. First time Walter Raleigh, and next time several Puritan groups established their colony. And after that, many people of the Europe, for the cause of famine, for the cause of economic problem, for the cause of revolution in America, they left revolution in Europe. They left Europe and went to USA. And apart from that, for the cause of the slave trade, many people went to USA. And also the Caribbean people, they also went to, they were also sold to America, to the USA as the slave. And apart from this area, some Asian and the other people also went to America as immigrant. And though they go over there just to get a common language for communication, they start using language as the lingua franca. And for this reason, the 86% people's uh, language in America is English. And this English language has become the glue to have the American unity. So it is in nutshell the origin of American English. So um, thank you very much. Uh, let's watch some one